This conference will
Okay,
now be
so
recorded.
full set, and let us come to, okay, so before showing anything regarding social engineering, let us, proceed with a practical, right? I mean, let us see a demo of this social engineering type of attack, and then we will definitely, explain what about social engineering and how it actually being performed by different kind of hackers and all the different measurement and different aspects of this particular attack called social engineering, and the different tools and programs which are involved into this particular beautiful type of attack social engineering. And we'll be discussing a lot of stuff regarding this. This is a big unit, so we'll try to cover most of the part of this particular unit. Anyhow, so this is that, and let us, the one new thing probably all of you can see right now, I am for the first time in the class I am into Kali Linux, right? Because why? The reason there is a reason behind it, because the first and foremost reason is like the tool which I am going to perform right now, which is very much related to social engineering kind of attack. But the biggest problem with running this tool in Parrot is that this tool is having some bug in Parrot, bug in Parrot. So if you are actually planning to run this particular tool, always Kali is a better platform in comparison to Parrot, right? So I have tried many different aspects to resolve this bug in Parrot, but somehow that particular all the versions of Parrot nowadays are encountering this particular bug related to this particular tool. So better for demonstration of this particular tool, we will be heading towards Kali Linux, right? So what is that particular tool? See, initially we'll run a tool called AC Toolkit. I will explain everything. Right. So let us increase the font size a little bit. Now, the full form of AC Toolkit is Social Engineering Toolkit. Now, guys, you probably can understand Social Engineering Toolkit, kit of tools, right? That means it's a package of small tools, right? So multiple small tools are there. I mean, the softwares which are there, having the number of tools which actually forms a kit of tools, right? And all the tools are related to social engineering kind of attack. So initially there is a command called AC Toolkit. So we will type enter out here. We'll run the command and we'll type enter out there. Now you can probably see everything is written out here, that welcome to the social engineering toolkit called set, ACT, right? Set. Now you can see this is the first demo of the social engineering kind of attack. Then I will explain what about the social engineering, right? But I need all of you to see what can happen and how dangerous this kind of attack can be. So this is a ready-made tool. We need not to bother about this. This tool will be there in all the security editions of Linux operating system. So you can see the number of options which are right now available to all of us, right? Number 1, 2 index numbers are there, and the first option is called social engineering attack. So without wasting time, I will select the numeric number which is for me, which is number 1, because I am actually planning to run with the social engineering kind of attack. So inside the social engineering kind of attack, now this particular tool offers us with numerous different kind of sub options, means sub topic, sub kind of attacks, specific kind of attacks. Like one is spear phishing attack, website attack, infectious media generator, create a payload and listener, mass mailer attack, Arduino based. Arduino, we all can understand, we all know the name called Arduino, because this nowadays becomes very popular technology or hardware kind of stuff related to IoT, right? So Arduino based attack vector, wireless attack vector, QR code generator, these has become a very popular kind of attacks in last 1 year or so, because nowadays this fake QR code generation is very important. I mean, the hackers are really using this fake QR code generation tools, and they are building this QR code, and they are offering this fake QR code to multiple in number of users. And if you get trapped, you will definitely be with some your sensitive information, you will try to break this QR code, and definitely it can actually work as a malicious piece of file, right? So it can actually make a communication between your device and the hacker's device. Anyhow, PowerShell attack vector. PowerShell is a very good shell, shell. Just like metadata shell in last year's class, PowerShell is a shell which is available in all the Windows editions nowadays, starting from Windows 7 to Windows 8, then Windows 10, everywhere. All the versions of Windows nowadays is having one beautiful shell called PowerShell. So that is why once PowerShell is available to us nowadays, it has become, I mean, the usage of the command prompt has become very minimized. Guys, I mean, Windows user, they don't often uses this command prompt, because nowadays they are having very powerful kind of one shell called PowerShell. I mean, why is it called PowerShell? Because almost all the administration kind of stuff in Windows can be performed through command sitting in a particular environment called PowerShell. And you guys probably have seen a blue color, shell kind of a square kind of rectangle kind of icon in the Windows operating system. So in my case, I have actually have not used this PowerShell. So let us, I can also see whether I am having this PowerShell or not in my, since this is my, since this is my, let me type this power and then shell. Guys, probably you can see right now, this is called Windows PowerShell. This is like a rectangle kind of stuff, and this will give you one environment wherein you are actually asked to type the commands, and with these commands you can actually do anything and everything related to Windows operating system. But command prompt always was having some limitations. Some of the commands, I mean, very limited kind of commands are actually being offered in the command prompt. It is also not possible to manage everything sitting in command prompt, but since PowerShell is there with us nowadays, so we can do anything and everything. So that is why, since PowerShell has become very important and very popular nowadays for the Windows users, there are some PowerShell attack vectors with which we can actually attack the PowerShell, right? And we can, through PowerShell, we can go inside to the system, target system. SMS spoofing attack vector, that means we can use this spoofing kind of stuff through SMS, means fake SMS, and we can go inside to our target system. Anyway, without wasting time, we will be choosing for this first time, we will be choosing, all the descriptions for the different kind of attacks are there. If you want to see, you can definitely see the descriptions of these different kind of attack types inside social engineering attack. Anyhow, so what we supposed to do, we will be selecting for the first time, we will be selecting, like a website attack vector, which is the second option. So right now there are some sub options like Java applet. What kind of website attack? You can use a fake Java applet, you can use a Metasploit browser, a fake Metasploit browser. You can do something with which you can, harvest the credentials. Credential harvesting means you would like to steal the username and passwords at the target computer, so that you will be doing something which is very which is not actually proper, with which you are actually targeting to steal the credentials of the target. Tab naming attack vector, webjacking attack vector, multi attack vector, full scan attack, HTA attack, different kind of website attack vectors are there. If you are quite serious, you'd like to know the description of all different kind of website social engineering attack, you can scroll it a little bit up, and you will see all the descriptions of all different kind of attacks. Like for an example, which I have not explained, which is tab naming attack. See, the tab naming attack method will wait for a user to move to a different tab and then refresh the page to something different. It's very fishy. It happens with us sometime. If your browser gets corrupted, if your browser gets affected with malware, then what happens, sometimes we usually tries to browse a particular web URL, it actually redirects, the page gets refreshed, and it actually opens another tab, right, with other kind of stuff. It usually happens when, guys, when we tries to download any kind of file from a unauthenticated site. Let us assume that we are trying to download a torrent file, torrent file. I'm not asking about the original file, torrent file. Let us assume that from a website we have got the link of any torrent file, means let us assume the file name is a.torrent, right? Now whenever we'll try to initially download that torrent file, usually we see is that another tab gets open, coming up with some other kind of information, and we have to be in a very we have to be in rush, right? We have to close that particular other tab very in a fast manner, otherwise it would actually open some other tabs, if we get late with with a time span of 2 to 3 minutes, then it would become very impossible for us to close all the tabs. There can be number of tabs which might get open within that time span of 2 to 3 minutes. So this is called tab numbing attack. Whenever you tries to browse something, your page gets refreshed, it opens another few, it can be more than one tabs with more than one different kind of malicious kind of informations. It is actually, the objective is, it is actually asking you to actually click on any of the options which are being demonstrated in some other tabs. Once you will click, you will get trapped and your system will get you know attached with the hacker system. So there are different kind of attack methods which you can scroll it a little bit up and down and you can go through it properly. Anyhow, so let us go with this very basics of this credential attack vector, which is my objective is to harvest the credentials. So let us choose this number 3 as option, and then there are some sub options, which is one is web template, second one is site cloner, third one is custom import. Now all the descriptions are there. You can see what about this one, what about this one, what about this one, everything is there. Now to understand it very in a proper way, web template means there are some ready-made template of there are some ready-made templates of some very popular websites like Google, Facebook, some other sites. Some templates are there. Site cloner, which means they are going to ask you that which site you would like to clone. It can be ardentcollaborations.com, some /login.php also. If there are some registration page at ardentcollaborations.com which I can also clone. It can be a college website registration page. It can be a college website form fill up page. If I can browse the form kind of page, the entire URL I can submit out here in the site cloner, and I can actually build exactly same kind of page, but that is going to be a fake page. And guys, what is my objective? I am going to host that fishy page in my machine. My machine will be considered as hacker system, and I will send that particular link of my web URL at that means the phishing page to some of my trusted person, that guys, the college result has college has published the result, or college is asking to feed the some of the informations in their college website in the forms, right? So this kind of forms are very dangerous. You can share this fishy link to somebody, and if he or she get trapped, that means definitely he or she is being asked to feed their details initially, to actually go inside it, to fill up the form, and whenever he or she is filling their credentials, they are actually filling it in a phishing page, not in a original page. In that way you are actually trapping their credentials. So these are plenty of different kind of information. So you can put a custom URL and you can make a cloning of this custom URL, and this is quite similar kind of stuff, custom import, but that I'm not going to discuss right now because this is kind of advanced kind of stuff. If we'll get some time, we'll definitely go with this particular option, but it requires some more time actually for you guys to understand this custom import. Anyhow, so let us see, my objective initially just to give you an idea that how it actually works, this particular tool actually works. So initially I often prefer the first option, which is web template, because my objective just to give you the demo. So let us proceed with this option number 1. Now then, see guys, it is always this kind of attack always relates to reverse connection. So it is asking that you probably, as of now, you probably are all clear why this reverse connection is required, guys, because that whenever we are building something, we are uploading something, some of the malicious files, whenever these malicious files are going to be downloaded and executed at the targeted computer, automatically that computer will get connected to my computer. I am the hacker. So that is why this is reverse, not that I am getting connected to someone is getting connected to me. So that is why this is called reverse connection. That same thing has happened with Metasploit also. You all are quite aware about the fact as of now. Anyhow, so this is that it is asking that what is your IP address, guys. So my IP address in this current case is 192.168.1.4, and which has been taken by default. So I will not edit anything out here because it has already taken my original IP address. So I will press enter out here. So let us press enter. Now it is asking that what kind of template would you like to use? Would you like to use Java required kind of template, that you're using some old version of Java, so a new version of Java update is available nowadays? So you need to download, you need to go inside to the Java site, you need to put up your credentials, and you need to download the latest editions of Java. This kind of stuff you require, or you require the Google, you require Twitter, something. So I will use the very basics and very common one, which is number 2, which is the Google one. So once I'll press out here, now enter, and it is asking that press return if you understand that what we are saying out here. So we'll press simple enter out here. Now guys, please see here my cursor is actually blinking, and it is being written that the information will be displayed to you as it arrives below. Whenever somebody will do something with this particular IP, so automatically their credentials will be displayed out there only, out your system at this terminal only. So guys, hopefully you're quite sure what I'm trying to do out here. So once I'm done with this thing, what I can do here in this Windows machine, or any Windows machine you prefer, you can browse this kind of stuff. I mean, I can use this one from here. I will also demonstrate you from my Windows 10 computer. Hardly makes any difference. All will be same. So 192.168.1.102. This is the IP address of the of the hacker's computer. Now you can obviously ask me, sir, why do I require to browse somebody's IP address? So that thing I will cover in today's class only. But this is the basic stuff, that how, if you're browsing somebody's IP address and already something has offered to you, I mean, in a way of this kind of thing, what can actually happen. So later on I will cover the element that how the target, how the hackers usually convince you that yes, this is the original one, I mean this is the link that you should click, right? So this is how I actually need to convince you. That how phase I will be explaining later on. Anyhow, so let us assume that anyhow you are being convinced to actually browse this particular IP. So you are browsing this IP. Now we'll see that what will happen. So this is something very interesting, that under construction. Okay, let me see why is it. This is saying that IIS. Okay, very funny. So let me minimize this thing, and let me come here with my Windows 10. Let me check out here 192.168.1.102 under construction. Some errors are going on. What I should think, that some errors are going on with my Apache. So I have opened a new tab, service, APS, CHE2 space, status is dead. Start. There's some problem going on with this thing. So the solution is very difficult. There are some problem going on with my Apache service. So last of all, see, let me once again, for the last time, let me check whether I can able to browse this thing. If not, then I need to reboot my system. There are some problem going on with the Apache server service. Okay, 192. Dot 168.1.102. Sorry, it's not 102, I guess, right? It's 104, I guess, right? Making some mistake. What it was like 1.104. Okay, so I was probably making a mistake in the IP address. The construction. Yes, I had given out a 102, but actually the IP address is actually 104. So, guys, once I have browsed this exact IP address 192.168.1.104, see what is actually happening. You know, I mean, here it's very, very fishy that exactly the Google, the Google template is actually arrives, and it is asking you to log into the Google page. Now that is different issue, that here initially you are browsing somebody's IP address, and here nothing related to log sign. The log sign is actually closed. You can see the cross out here, right? But anyhow, you can see exactly the Google login page. So amazing thing will happen if I tries to log in out here, like shomo07@gmail.com, and if I ask you for the password like Ardent 321, right? So let us sign in. Now once I will sign in, see what will happen initially. First it is asking me whether I do want to remember this password or not. I will say no, I am not quite interested. So now nothing is actually coming, I mean, it is not actually being logged in. I mean, I have given my credentials, but somehow what is happening, that it is still in the connecting mode, and after a sudden interval, all of a sudden the Google, the proper Google website has arrived. This is the proper Google website. So this is very funny and very fishy. So once this kind of element has happened, what has actually happened, this is the hacker's computer. Now the hackers you can all see how beautiful tool this one is. Now hackers can exactly see what email address you had given out there and what password you had given out there. So this was your password and this was your email address. So this is very interesting and very, very dangerous kind of stuff. So I mean, guys, this is a tool which is there with us, but there are plenty of other kind of phishing tool with which you can actually have your this kind of practice, which are much more advanced and much more enhanced in comparison to AC toolkit, because AC toolkit actually works in a local area network set, and some of the other tools which are there which comes in Parrot but doesn't come in Kali Linux, but you can, of course, you can download it from GitHub and you can have your own practice. Some of the most important tool, one of which I should name that particular tool, but I can remember, one of which is Skipfish, SKIPFISH, Skipfish. This is a very popular phishing tool, similar kind of stuff. Then SOCIAL, social fish, so this kind of phishing tool, these tools are exactly meant for for this kind of building this phishing and cloning, I mean, fake web pages, and having plenty of options. AC toolkit or set, which is default in Kali Linux, having a very nominal options, like in Skipfish and social fish, in comparison to AC toolkit, they're having plenty of options. I mean, plenty of websites are listed. Even if, please do not mind, but I should say that even if you can build a clone of any pornographic website also, so that is very dangerous. I mean, these social fish, Skipfish, all these tools are very dangerous. Not only that, you can incorporate ng-rock out here in both these tools called Skipfish and social fish. Guys, probably all of you can remember about ng-rock in last day's class. So ng-rock can also be incorporated. That means ng-rock जो है, ng-rock का जो फीचर है, वो Skipfish और social fish के साथ बाय डिफॉल्ट जो है उसका एक लिंक मतलब आपका होके रहता है. तो फिर क्या होता है कि जब भी आप इन लोगों को चलाते हैं, आप जो भी चीज बनाते हैं, जो भी लिंक आप बनाते हैं ना, वो पब्लिक में अवेलेबल आप कर सकते हो. मतलब आप कोई लिंक बना रहे हो, उस लिंक को आप पब्लिक में शेयर कर सकते हो, पब्लिक में स्थित कोई भी उसको एक्सेस कर पाते हैं और उसके साथ आपका ये जो है ये बन सकता है. So guys, you can actually search this Skipfish and social fish in GitHub, and please do remember, I have told you that GitHub is not only for downloading these softwares. You need to wait till the end. You need to scroll till the end, scroll down till the end. Once you have installed, following the steps of installation, then also the purpose of the software, some of the examples for the execution of the softwares, which all should be listed in GitHub. So GitHub is very important. Whoever are going to upload their softwares in GitHub, they usually put some of the examples of the execution and the behavior and the descriptions of the software. So you need to go through with entire documents. Not only that, downloading and installing, that is the ultimate objective, but you need to have some idea about the software, what for you're using it, and how it can be used with some of the basic examples. Then you can work as your choice, right? So hopefully up to this is clear. One very basic example of social engineering. Guys, come in the chat box and tell me up to this if any one of you having any doubt. Shantanu said that Khub network problem, sir. Okay, Shantanu, I understand network problem. Sudeep Kumar Hela, network disturb korche onek. I understand. Anything related to this particular topic up to now, guys? All are there, probably 16. I mean, let me see that how many of you are there today's class. Okay, Abhishek, Mohibul, Manoj, Nirupam, Prananda, Rajiv, Ranajit, Rishikalpo, Sahil, Yash, Sudip Kumar Hela, Sandeep Karmakar. Tell me, guys, anything you would like to ask me up to this, or everything is clear to all of you? You can put it in the chat box, or else you can talk to me. Okay, all clear. Yes, Sid. Okay, very fine. Thank you, Yash. Okay, so let us proceed with the next phase, which I think is very important to all of us. So in next 1 hour, phase is very important because I will be in a little bit hurry, right? But yes, of course, I will be explaining all the points so that you can grasp properly. And not only that, you all are required to, remember the next phase of 1 hour very carefully, because those that particular phase related to social engineering is very important. We will be learning so many new things related to social engineering. Not only that I mean, some of the techniques that I will be explaining to you, all the techniques I will be explaining in that way only. I have prepared my PPT so that, sometimes it is always not possible to demonstrate all the practicals, because demonstrating all the practicals in ethical hacking really takes time, right? So this course can be a 120 hours, even it can be a 150 hours in together if I am going to show you all the tools and techniques, right? But yes, of course, my objective always is to demonstrate as much as I can. Anyhow, so let us start with this particular PPT. So guys, please have a look at it very carefully. This is a PPT in social engineering. So what I can do, I can actually make it in a slideshow mode. Okay, so social engineering. So this is the topic, and this is my name. You all know my name is Chomora. I'm CEH, CHFI, NCAC, RFC, ITL. So these are my global certifications. Anyhow, so let me proceed with this next slide. Now, guys, please have a look. I will be in a hurry because these are very basics. What is social engineering? Social engineering is what kind of attack? We have seen a kind of attack, a practical example of the social engineering attack. But if I ask you that, what about the social engineering? You need to answer me. What about social engineering? So social engineering is the art of manipulating people, right, guys? I always would refer a beautiful TV serial related to the social engineering attack, and that TV serial is the episode 1, the first episode of Mr. Robot, right? Mr. Robot is a TV serial. Still all the episodes are available in internet. If you are seriously trusting me, please guys, it will consume some of your bandwidth, but really this collection will give you some extra interest in this particular ethical hacking field, because I mean, this is so very realistic TV serial that they have demonstrated most of the tools, they have demonstrated most of the techniques, even if including how to build rootkits, so plenty of different techniques are being demonstrated, including the social engineering attack technique. So I always ask my students initially to have some interest in this particular domain. You need to at least see the episode 1. There are probably 4 or 5 episodes. I have seen till 4. So I think that 4 is the last edition which has been released. I don't know whether any one of you have seen that particular TV serial or not. Have you seen any, guys? Have you seen any one of you, Mr. Robot? Okay, Yash, that I was expecting from you, Yash, that you have seen. Okay, Shudeep says Mr. Robot is a great show, sir. Thank you very much, Shudeep, that you have seen. Sahil also have seen. So very good. I mean, guys, nothing to be pity about. So if you have not seen this TV serial, you must download at least episode 1, the first episode, I mean the first season, better to say the first season of that TV serial. Anyhow, so social engineering is a kind of attack wherein you are actually manipulating a particular person. In fact, in the movie called Baby also, you might have seen that particular guy who usually eats biscuit, is a hacker, right? So what he does, I mean, he usually builds this kind of malware, and he usually traps the server administrator. He uploads that kind of pornographic stuff, I mean, in the web, and he is actually, waiting for someone, actually is targeting some, persons who are into this kind of business, who might be a big company's system administrator, I mean, whose responsibility is to maintain all the servers. So social engineering is a very funny kind of attack and very effective kind of attack, wherein you are not directly trying to, hack the computer, because computers are very clever. They are machines altogether. So it is always easier if you can, manipulate someone, a human, who is in control of that particular machine. I mean, who usually controls those machines, which are important to you. So it is always easier. So we need to understand the psychology of that particular person, who is a server administrator. Might be, I mean, he likes to play cards. Might be he's a very, freak to watch pornographic sites from for a long duration of time. Might be he is a very freak in Facebook or some of the Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Might be very, familiar with the social media. So might be some of his other choices. Now, knowing his or her choices, we can actually exploit these things. So we are trapping this particular person who usually controls these machines, and by trapping that particular person, we will be controlling the systems, right? So that is called pot. I mean, we are trapping someone. By trapping someone, with that guy only, I will be controlling the system. So that kind of attack called social engineering. Now you can see, guys, in the PPT only, I have written that hacking target through people. Now target can be your person, company, website, etc., etc. Now let me squeeze this one because my screen is not visible properly to me. Anyhow, you can see, guys, that big companies spend a lot of time and money securing their systems, but hardly they know that not only by securing system, they can, secure their entire environment. Always a proper education, always a proper awareness to the persons who are in charge of those systems are very important. Might be a simple person, might be a guard who usually locks the server room every day, I mean every night. That person also can be trapped. So a proper awareness and a proper education to all the guys, I mean starting from a guard till the server administrator till the normal employees, related to cyber security, related to cyber crimes, are very important, to all of us. I mean, it is a nowadays becomes very essential to all of us, right? So but these systems are managed by or used by the humans. So not much is spent on educating the employees. So that is a flaw. So that is a drawback, and the hackers usually take the advantage of these flaws. Anyhow, so sorry. Anyhow, so let me proceed with the next slide. Like, I mean, why this hacking and all this thing will not waste time on this. Facing some problem, so let me. Yes, that probably is better for me. Anyhow, because I can control as per my choice. Anyway, preparation, guys. All of us, we know that we need to have at least one security Linux, one Windows operating system like Windows 10 or any other versions like Ubuntu Linux. We can have two at least Linux operating systems. So
Hello. Hello, sir.
Guys, can you hear me now? हेलो, सुनाई दे रहा है अभी? हेलो. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, fine. So let us again start with this phase. So like, I mean, we know that this is the lab setup that we actually require. Anyhow, so we'll not waste some time. Now we'll come to the next slide. I mean, in the, very sorry. So in this first phase, I should be using the, the this thing, but my vision is to the screen, I mean is on the screen, so I lost these keys. Anyhow, so guys, I mean, this is the first step. The first step, we have already learned that what we actually need to do, we need to first gather the information about my target. Now we know that gathering information about a target can relate to a company, can relate to a website, can relate to a person, any kind of whatever, whoever is my target, I actually require to gather the information about that particular guy. Now the second thing, discover the associated websites, links and companies. Now associated people, names, email addresses, phone number, social network and friends. Associated social networking accounts. See the word called associated people, associated names, email address, phone number, social network and friends. Associated social networking accounts. Displayed all info on a graph and build the attack strategies. Now please come in the chat box and tell me, what do you think, what can be the best tool to have this kind of information for information gathering? Who can say? बताइए, इसमें से जितना तक हम लोग यहाँ पे पढ़े हैं इंफॉर्मेशन गैदरिंग में क्या करना चाहिए, तो उसके लिए आप लोग को क्या लगता है, कौन सा टूल सबसे बढ़िया हो सकता है? वेरी गुड रणोजीत. The best tool can be Maltego, because see the word called associated. So always it is not that if my objective is to hack somebody, I mean this is a person, I need to hack this person, that always I will be gathering the info about this particular person. I should also gather some of the other information related to this person, where he does work, I mean, what about his companies? I mean, the websites which he actually visits, some of the company's website where he must be having some accounts, some of the social media's account, who are his close friends, the name of the friends of this particular guy. I mean, their friends' email addresses, friends, contact numbers, their social networking accounts, so that we can use their identity and we can use this particular guy something from using their friends, I mean, his friend's identity. I have told you already that we can use this kind of stuff, that we can use somebody's email address, we can send mail from somebody's email address, which is a really a security breach altogether. But this kind of websites are there which will give you for for 30 minutes this kind of leverage. Okay, fine. So let us see that Multigo probably is the best one, best information gathering tool, so that with which we can actually, accomplish all these desired kind of stuff, So let us proceed with the next slide. The next slide is actually, what is happening? I don't know why it's not happening. Okay, now it's okay. Okay, now the second phase is like generating evil files. So once you're done with the gathering of informations, now there should be the second phase, which is generating evil files. Now we know that Metasploit or Metapreter, we have learned about Metapreter for generating the evil files. Now guys, apart from this Metasploit, there are some other tools with which we can even generate the evil files with which can bypass the antivirus software. In last class, I have told you that we'll be learning something how to bypass the antivirus software and Windows firewall, and Windows Defender system as well. Otherwise, the malwares are going to get caught by the, by the antivirus or Windows firewall system, so that it would become very difficult for the hackers to actually penetrate in the target computer. So that, generating evil files after gathering the information plays very important role, that these softwares you are going to use for generation of these evil files. And what does this performs? That these can perform, I mean, creating the backdoors, creating the keyloggers, creating the password recovery tools, download and execute payload, download and report payload. This kind of activities can be done by generating the evil files. Then next step. Now, after generation of evil files, you need to enhance the behavior of the evil files, so that initially it can bypass the antivirus program. So this should come in the third phase. The first phase is gathering information. Second phase is, generating the evil files. Third phase, enhancing the nature and behavior of the evil files, so that it can bypass all the obstacles. So the number one obstacles is the antivirus program. The second obstacle must be Windows Defender, Windows firewall system. Create a Trojan, a most common operating system. Embed evil code in Microsoft Office documents. See the third point, how important this one is. I have also told in my first class, in the introductory class, that there is a very strong unit called steganography. Steganography, wherein you will require to, you will means the hackers usually requires to, embed their malicious program inside a very legitimate called program. Yesterday's class we have seen a demonstration that how we are embedding nc.exe name evil file inside a very common and very legitimate file called cmd.exe. So this is also that was also one example of the steganography. So here also you can see that embedding the evil code inside Microsoft Office document, might be some of the evil codes are embedded into, some VBA scripts you can embed inside Microsoft Office Excel, Microsoft Office Word, this kind of documents. Even if you can download a PDF file, and you can embed your malicious file inside the PDF file. You can see the examples are actually given, that image file, PDF file, all can be used for this steganography purpose. Create perfect spying tool. Anyhow, coming to the next slide. Now this is the fourth step, and believe me, for me this fourth step is the most important one, that how convincing way you can deliver your malwares to the target. Now anyhow, the victim should get convinced that yes, whatever you are delivering should be a proper one, right? So they will be downloading, they will be executing the stuff. You can see the smart social engineering techniques deliver the evil files. Fake login page is another, way. Fake update page, that can be another way to drive someone with the phishing stuff. Now fake update pop-ups, that you have some old kind of softwares and you know that this person is using some old version of softwares by running scanning on that particular computer. Now you're utilizing that stuff, by building one, update package, and which is having, some of the malicious piece of code inside, and you're, using some of the framework to actually inject the browser, so that the pop-up usually comes at the target computer that your, this kind of software is actually outdated, so you're required to, download the update, and automatically the update box usually comes, it is asking you to click OK. So automatically your malicious program is going to get executed with the name of the legitimate file. It might looks to be at flush plugin.exe, but that flush plugin player.exe must be a malicious file, but the name kind of a legitimate file, but inside the code is a malicious kind of file. So this kind of elements will happen, and hackers usually, day by day and every minute, they usually enhance the nature of their files, so that it get the victim gets convinced in a proper way that yes, whatever they are downloading, whatever they are executing is a proper kind of, a legitimate file, nothing fishy in this kind of files. Anyhow, so mail spoofing is another way, fake website, YouTube traffic is another way, and so many other stuffs which are there. Now this is called post exploitation step. This is the last step. We know that once hacking has been done, we have seen it earlier also, whenever we were into the metapreter greater than prompt, we can do anything and everything, because by that time we have the entire control of our target system. Now we can do anything and everything. See, we can escalate privilege, we can spy a system, we can access their cameras, we can pivot, and we can do many more things. We'll explain this point called pivot. This is very important, and I'll also be asking you that if you do know something related to pivot or pivoting, right? This is a very important kind of stuff. Anyway, so post exploitation, so many stuff we have already seen with a software called, Metasploit. We have seen. So anyhow, so what will start in this particular phase, we will first build the, information gathering part is done. So we'll be building some of the, malicious piece of file, evil files. So you can ask me, sir, we have already know that how to build these evil files, because you have already demonstrated Metasploit, and with the MSA Venom command we can easily build this, this kind of stuff. But guys, repeatedly I'm saying, there are some softwares with which we can bypass the antivirus program. If we are using these softwares for creating or generating the malware or the malicious file, what we can do, this malicious file can escalate, the, can should not get detected by the antivirus program, right? So that is very important part. But Metasploit, what happens usually, the malicious file which you might be generating with the help of Metasploit will get caught by the, antivirus program. But when we learn the proper technique that how we need to bypass the antivirus program, then we will get understand that ultimately it doesn't depend on the software that you're using to generate this kind of evil file. It actually depends upon your skills, that how you are making that file ready to bypass the antivirus program, so that is all about your efficiency and skill and expertise, that how you're actually, bypassing the antivirus program. It hardly matters with the, tool. You might be using tool A, somebody might be using tool B, somebody might be using tool C, so absolutely their own choice. But skill and expertise to bypass the antivirus program is a different technique altogether that I will show you. Anyhow, so let us start with this phase of, information gathering. Done with the information gathering, we will not waste some time, so let us come to this. Yes, we will come to this particular topic called whale, right? For generating these evil files, initially we'll be using a software called whale-evasion. Guys, please have a look at this one. The software name. Here we are here. We will be pressing Control C. We'll come back. We'll press 99. So we'll go back. Then again 99. Then again 99. So we are done with this thing. We have come out from this session. So guys, there is a beautiful software called VIL-Evasion. Is a name of a software which is very good, for generating these evil files. Among many softwares, VIL-Evasion is a very renowned kind of software for generating this kind of evil files, and so that it can also bypass the antivirus program. That is also another, USP of this particular software, that it actually, demands that whatever, payload that you will be building with this software are going to be able to, bypass any kind of antivirus program. That what they demand, and we have seen lot many times that yes, they are true enough. So most of the, malicious files are actually able to bypass most of the popular antivirus program, if not even, even if it is not to all the antivirus program, but most of the antivirus program they have been able to bypass. Anyway, so whale-evasion, we'll see that how to execute and how to download all this stuff. This is called whale-evasion. Anyhow, so let me come to this particular slide wherein it is written that whale framework, this is a kind of backdoor. now is a file that gives you the full control over the machine it gets executed on. The similar kind of stuff, I mean, whenever, wherever this whale kind of stuff gets executed, it will get be connected with the hacker system, right? So this is guys the nature of the backdoor. Yesterday's class only we have seen so many different kind of backdoors. You know, we have seen the exploit backdoor, we have seen run persistence command, and run persistence command as backdoor. We have seen persistence module, I mean exploit as backdoor. We have seen NC as backdoor. So there are plenty of stuff we have seen, and we know the nature of the backdoor. Now, backdoor can be caught by the antivirus program. Now, Veil is a framework for generating the undetected backdoor. So that is their USP. Now, how to guys download this one? I should not repeat repeatedly. I mean, so many times I have told you that you actually need to search this particular software. I mean, any kind of software in GitHub, because most of the softwares are uploaded in GitHub. You know that how to download and execute this software like git clone, and then the full URL of this Veil one. I mean, you know. And guys, if you are actually, or if you are going to try this software at your place, so guys, one thing you should remember: try this software to download and execute when you have the full bandwidth on that day, right? If the total bandwidth is there with you, then only on that day, on that time only, please try to experiment with this particular software. Because on a very good bandwidth, almost 1.5 MB of download speed bandwidth, it usually takes almost 3 to 3.5 hours to exactly get installed with full-fledged features, right? This is a big software, you know. Veil.git is a very big software. It usually requires huge time, even if with a good bandwidth of internet connection, almost 3 to 3.5 hours, right? So be very careful. Otherwise, what will happen if you're having low bandwidth? Then once you have started with the installation phase, see, download will be happen within, you know, 1 or 2 minutes. Download hardly matters. But whenever you start installation of this particular software, it requires almost 3 hours with a very good volume of bandwidth. Otherwise, it gets stuck meanwhile, right? So anyhow, this is a way to download. And see guys, here it is clearly I have built this PPT in such a way that git clone, this is the URL. And then see guys, one thing, I am going inside to this particular directory called config. So once the downloading will be done, you will be having a directory called Veil with you, right? And within this Veil, you will be having a directory called config. So I'll be going inside to config directory. How to start the installation phase? See, this is the command dot slash setup.sh. That means there should be a file called setup.sh. And guys, you all know that if you are finding .sh as at the end of any file, that means it's the executable file at Linux. So how to run this executable file? /file name. So /file name, then minus silent is one argument, and then minus force is another argument, right? So minus silent and minus force. So that will make this setup.sh to execute or install this particular, you know, software called Veil.evasion. Now once you are done with this installation phase, now you can start this particular software with a command called Veil.py. You know, inside this directory only you will be having a file called Veil.py. So guys, how to run this .py file? You can either run /file name, or else better, I always prefer, do execute Python, write initially Python and then the name of the py file. So Python space veil.py. So automatically it gets executed. And I see first, once it gets executed, it will give you two options. One is evasion, the second one is ordnance, right? So we will definitely go with and some of the other available commands. See, these are two available tools and some of the available commands like exit, info, list, options, update, and use. So see guys, I mean, there are some commands like if we would like to use this particular tool called evasion, I will be using a command called use, then use a specific tool. So use, then number 1, which will call up evasion, right? Now if you would like to list of all the modules out here, what you're going to do, you're going to type a command called list. So it is going to give you all available list of all available tools. So that is that. Now then see, I am using a command called use, then number 1, which calls up, you know, evasion, and then I will be using either info or I'll be using a list. So see, info means information about a specific tool. Now then see, see I have used number one, which is which is called number one. Number one is the evasion. So once I have selected evasion, now there are some other options like this one. So what I can do, I can type a command called list. List means all available payloads. Now once I have pressed list, see these are the list of all available payloads. Payloads, guys, probably you all are quite familiar with the word called payload. So payload, different kind of payloads are there, and all the paths are there. So what we are going to do out here, we'll be selecting a particular payload with the index number of that particular payload. And for me, this is probably the best payload that it actually offers. That means the software called Rail actually offers probably the best payload is this one. Go is a programming language, right? So Go, then Meterpreter, then rev underscore https. This is the best kind of payload that it actually offers. So we will be selecting this particular payload with the index number of the payload, and then and automatically some of the options which we can configure later on, these options are coming up, host name, then L host, then L port, then processors, then sleep, then username, all these options, what purposes, descriptions are also there. And we can use this command like for changing some stuff. We know that we have seen in Metasploit that set is a command. Set, then sleep, then value. Set, then processors, then value. Set, then L port, then value. Set, then L host, then value. Likewise, we can change the value of the variables. So in that way, we have changed something like we have given the L host IP address as my IP address. We have given the L port option with any of the free port number, like here I have used 8080. And guys, see, I mean, up to this would be enough for me to build a malicious file. But one thing you need to remember, that antivirus programs are are very clever. They often detect some of the program as virus due to the inspection of the inner code of that particular program. If it finds something which is common in the coding part of that particular program, that code is there also with the antivirus program, automatically the antivirus program detects that program as virus. Once again, let me repeat, antivirus always go inside to the code, inner code of the program. If some part of the code is common with both of them, I mean some part of the common is there in the program which is also there in the antivirus program's database, right? So automatically, and that particular part of the program which is there in the antivirus program's database is called the signatures, right? So if the signature matches with the code of the program, automatically it detects it. It means the antivirus program detects the program which it is actually scanning as virus, because it found some matching in the coding within the program which is also there in the database of that particular antivirus program. Hopefully you can understand what I'm trying to say. So our objective, or the hacker's objective, always is to do some modifications in the common part of the program so that it can actually bypass the antivirus program. As a whole, whenever you're making some changes in the inner part of the code, automatically the signature, the ultimate signature, which is nothing but a random number, whenever you're changing some of the inner coding part of a program just to make it with a different one, so automatically the system assigns a newer random number, which hardly find any matching with the program with the signatures of the antivirus program. So in that way we are able to bypass the antivirus program. So see, try and understand, if we will be assigning the value of only L host and L port, it will work for me. But what it cannot do is that it will get trapped by antivirus program very easily, because that will be having some common code within this program and the antivirus program, and antivirus is going to detect that this particular program as malware. What I need to do in order to bypass the scanning of antivirus program, I need to set some more values in order to having some change or have some change in the signature value, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set some additional values. I'm going to set the value of this variable called processors. How many processors are going to be involved for scanning, for processing this particular file? Hardly I require the value to be set, but I will be setting. So once I'll be setting this value, altogether the code will become different, and altogether the signature value gets different. So the sleep means the execution interval time, right? So I will be setting some value out here, so that just to make the inner code different with the the signature of the antivirus program. In that way, we will be coming to the next option. Like guys, you can see at the next page that set processors 1, set sleep 6. See, so in that way we can actually make some changes, so all the values are being set. Now for building the malicious file, what I can do, I can type a command called generate, right? Generate, right? With this command generate, system usually asks that what name you'd like to assign to your malicious file. I actually require to give the name of this file, so here I have given a name, and automatically it would be showing the summary of the file, where you will find this malicious file. Now you can see the executable path of the file, which is available inside this particular location, which is user share well output, then compiled, then this is the name which you have given, and this is the executable part of the file. So in order to attack somebody, this program has to be transferred to somebody, and somebody has to execute this particular program in order to get connected with the system. Now guys, come in the chat box first. Now I have one question for you. Now please tell me that I mean, if I can be able to transfer this executable file to somebody's computer and somebody has executed the file, so what do you think that how I can go inside to the file? Because there is nothing called listener. If you start comparing well with Metasploit, one advantage is you can build up your malicious file, as well as you can set up your listener, so that whenever your malicious file gets executed at the targeted computer, your listener knows the event and your listener can go inside to that particular system. But here in well, only we can build a malicious file, but there is nothing called listener. So what do you think that I mean, how we can go inside to somebody's computer, even if the executable file gets executed at the target computer? Guys, please come in the chat box and tell me that what is your views and opinions. No idea? বলো, কেউ তো বলো, প্রশ্নটা বুঝতে পেরেছো? क्वेश्चन समझ में आया है सभी को? गाइस, आर यू देयर? आप लोग है सेशन में? नो रिस्पॉन्स, वेरी फनी.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I mean, please do text. I mean, if you are there, then even if you don't know the answer, you need to put your this thing, no? I mean, you need to write that, sir, we don't know. So দেখো, এখানে যদি তোমাদের মনে হয় যে আমার প্রশ্নটা বুঝতে পারোনি, let me again once again repeat my question. that हमने बताया है कि जैसे करके आप अगर इसको मेटास्प्लॉइट के साथ कंपैरिजन करेंगे, तो मेटास्प्लॉइट में हम लोग देखे थे कि हम लोग बना भी सकते हैं और उसको एक लिसनर का हिसाब से हम लोग सेट भी कर पाते हैं, ताकि जब भी हम लोग का मेलिशियस फाइल का एग्जीक्यूशन हो टारगेट में, we can go inside to that system. But here see, the funniest thing is that there is nothing called listener. So guys, I mean, let me give you the answer. Whale is only for building this malicious file. It will never give you a listener kind of stuff, So for listener, you again need to run the command called msf console. So you can ask me, sir, then why for building up this malicious file, we can build the malicious file with msf venom command, which is a part of Metasploit. So why do we actually require whale for building up this thing? Because they are repeatedly demanding, I mean, that with this particular software, we can build a kind of a backdoor kind of stuff which can be undetectable by the antivirus program. So that is the only reason. But for setting up the listener, we again need to take the help of Metasploit. You all know that msf console is the command, and in that way, but only thing you need to remember that in MSF console, whenever we require to set the exploit name will be exploit multi-handler, and the payload name will be Windows Meterpreter, not, it won't be Go, but in MSF console it would be Windows, then Meterpreter, then rev underscore HTTPS. So that would be the name of the payload. I will be demonstrating, right? If you will get time tomorrow, I will definitely be demonstrating you. But one thing, let us come out here, let us quiz this one, and let us see that whether I do have vel or not. CD vel. Yes, I have vel, and I have vel installed with me. So if I have vel installed, how to execute this one? So Python, then vel.py. This is the command. Okay, I am facing some error. Oh my god. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, this thing I need to resolve later on, because I don't have much of time right now to resolve this issue. So it's giving me some error and bug. I don't know that whether I'm having here also. Let me check. CD cell here also I do have, but I do not think that it is going to work. Anyway, Python then py. Yes, there are also some other issues. Anyhow, so both of my Linux machines, I have done so many experiments here, so that these softwares, I mean, every time for the for the newer version of softwares are getting been installed. So that is why probably the main reason that these softwares actually require some specific version of Python library. And in Parrot, what has happened, Parrot is currently running with, you can see by yourself that if I run Python, sorry, just me, I need to run Python, then minus capital V. Now here it is going to show you that Python 2.7, but the current edition which is actually been loaded, if I type Python 3 space minus V, Python 3 space minus V, you can see, guys, this is the main problem. I mean, Veil is actually built with Python edition 3.7, and right now my system is actually upgraded to 3.8.3. So that is the only reason that due to these issues only, the Veil is not working properly at my Parrot cleaner. So I actually required to run some command, which is which I have also shared with you earlier, that update dash altr. Always do remember these kind of debug stuff. Update dash alternatives minus minus config space Python, this kind of command. So of course I will not press enter, because again it will take some time. So definitely it will actually give you the platform to actually toggle among the different versions of particular softwares. Like you can also write Java, you can also write some of the other softwares. It will give you the options to toggle among different versions. Anyway, so if this is the case, then I will be demonstrating, I'll be resolving these issues probably by next class, and I'll be demonstrating the execution of Bell. But anyhow, you probably have got a clear understanding that what things needs to be done, because I have built the PPT in such a way that I have taken the snapshot every time that I have executed the command. I have taken the snapshot, I have built and put up in the slides. So guys, one thing you need to remember, that once we are done with building up this kind of malicious file called this executable file, we need not to straight away put it in the target computer, because we first need to ensure that this particular element should not be detected by the antivirus program. So that is why what we supposed to do, we will open a beautiful website in my own computer, and the website is called nodistribute.com. So this is a very popular kind of website that you must be that you must open in your Linux machine before dumping it to the web. Before delivering it to the target computer, you need to ensure that this file should not be detected by most of the popular antivirus program. Now guys, probably no distribute, the main advantage of this this particular site, it never shares your file information while scanning to the public body. While it is going to scan your file, and it is never going to share the information. I mean, share the information means the result of scanning, it never going to never going to share it with the public body. But there are some other sites with which we can also scan this stuff. Like there is a one very popular kind of site. I should open that site name also out here, called VirusTotal. Total. VirusTotal. So VirusTotal is another popular site for scanning your, file, whether I mean, just to verify that how many antivirus program it can be able to bypass, or in other way how many antivirus programs are able to detect this program as virus files. But what is the drawback of this VirusTotal? Is a very, one of the group called, I just forgot the name of the group of hackers. They claimed that these VirusTotals, they usually share the scanning informations with public and with some of the companies of antivirus softwares, and these antivirus companies actually offers huge amount of money to this particular website called VirusTotal, because they know that most of the hackers usually, before delivering their viruses in public, they usually scans their program in VirusTotal just to ensure that how many antivirus programs are actually able to detect their program as viruses. So on that note, by getting that information, they will be doing some more alteration in the inner coding part of the file. So once that particular, that was a case, I mean, the year probably 2016, I guess, 2017, I guess. So I mean, after that case only, I mean, nowadays hackers, they don't actually prefer this website called VirusTotal, but yes, they do prefer the website called nodistribute.com, wherein it can do the similar kind of stuff. You can see the choose file option is there. You can choose your malicious file and you can scan it with almost all the this thing, and it is actually written out there: select the file and scan by moreover 35 antivirus programs. The result of the scan are never distributed. So that is why the site name is no distribute. It never distribute your result. Hopefully you can understand why I am telling so, because guys, these informations might be very essential to all of you. Now guys, you can see that this is the next step. You actually require to scan your file with the this kind of site, and once you get, I mean, convinced that yes, most of the antivirus programs you're actually able to, your program is able to bypass, then yes, of course, now the file is ready to be passed on to the target computer. Now, as I have told you that Whale can only, create the malicious file, but it cannot create the listener. So that is why you need to have your listener set, so that if something happens, somebody downloads and executes your file, you can go inside to the system. So that is why MSF console you'd require. And in MSF console, I told you that what you are required to do, you need to set the exploit first. We know that how to set the exploit. We need to use a command called use. Then exploit multi-handler is a very common exploit that we have also used earlier, and the similar kind of exploit we need to use. Then show options, we need to set the payload. So the payload would be Windows Meterpreter. The default option is Windows Meterpreter reverse underscore TCP. Now we will see that what changes we actually do require. See guys, I have told you that we need to change the payload type. See, set payload, then Windows, then Meterpreter, then reverse underscore HTTPS. This is the changed payload you require to use. This time you should not be using this reverse underscore TCP, because we have chosen earlier a payload called HTTPS. So that is why we'll be choosing the payload called Windows Meterpreter reverse underscore HTTPS for this time. Anyhow, coming to the next slide, we need again to put up show options. You can see show options can give us the inner variable informations. So in that way, I need to set my lhost as my localhost address. I need to set my L port with my desired any port number, and then I actually need to run a command called execute. Now guys, if I ask you that why here in MSF console I'm using this particular port number called 8080, do you have any answer with you? আমি কি প্রশ্নটা আরেকবার রিপিট করব? আমার প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে, কেউ কি বলতে পারবে এখানে আমি পোর্ট নাম্বার 8080 কেন ইউজ করলাম? আমি তো 4444 পোর্টেও কাজ করতে পারতাম। ফর নেটওয়ার্কিং ইউজ। এক্সাক্ট অ্যান্সার চাই, ভালো করে ভাবো। HTTP? হ্যাঁ, নো স্যার। Think of it. HTTPS. No, sir. Why 8080? A very simple answer. Bhavo, Rishi Balbo, Bhavo. Yes, think of it. A very simple answer. Sir, this is the second phase. This is the second phase. Phase number 2. You know, phase number 1 was what? What we did with a software called Veil. And therefore, in that software, we have used the same port number 8080. That is why to make a link. Yes or no? Yes. Because this is the two-phase architecture. You know, first phase is building the malware, second phase is setting the listener. So whatever, yes sir, so whatever information you passed on building time, the similar kind of information you need to pass while setting up your listener. Yes or no? Definitely. Definitely. So during the time of creation of this malware with Veil, I have used this particular port number only. So while setting up the listener, I should maintain the similar kind of information. Otherwise, it should not work. বুঝতে পারছো? ধরো তুমি প্রোগ্রামটা বানিয়েছো অন্য একটা পোর্টে, তুমি লিসেন করছো অন্য একটা পোর্টে, তাহলে কি তুমি কখনো সেই প্রোগ্রামটা এক্সিকিউট হলে জানতে পারবে? পারবে না কখনো, তাই তো গো? তো দুটোতে তোমাকে বানানোর সময়তে যে পোর্ট নাম্বার দিয়েছো, এক্সিকিউশনের সময়তেও মানে আই মিন লিসনার যেটা করবে, লিসেন যেটা করবে, সেটাও সেই পোর্ট নাম্বারই তোমাকে লিসেন করতে হবে, তবেই তো তুমি বুঝতে পারবে যে কি হচ্ছে। সুতরাং দুটোর মধ্যে একটা তোমাকে সিমিলারিটি তোমাকে কিন্তু রাখতে হবে, দুটো আলাদা ইনফরমেশন দিলে হবে না, রাইট? Okay, so once we are done this thing, so we will be using a command called exploit, which is a very renowned command. We all know that it is going to give us this kind of URL. That means that now we need to ask my victim, or we need to craft this one. ভালো করে বোঝো, এখন থেকে আমরা একটু অ্যাডভান্স জিনিস নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। Guys, we can use some crafting websites. We all know that if we type Google and we type URL shortening or shortener, URL shortener. So this is the most popular one which we all know, which is bitly.com. তাই তো গো, বিটলাই আমরা বহুবার দেখেছি, আজকাল লোকজন প্রচুর ইউজ করে বিটলাই। আর দেখো কি কি হয়, শর্ট ইউআরএল, ফ্রি ইউআরএল শর্টনার, এগুলো সব হয়। তো তাহলে আমি যদি বিটলাইতেই যাই, এটাকে যদি আমি ওপেন করি, তাহলে বিটলাই আমায় কি বলে? বিটলাই আমাকে বলছে যে গেট স্টার্টেড ফর ফ্রি। তাহলে আমি এখানে গেট স্টার্টেড ফর ফ্রি তে ক্লিক করলাম, তাই তো গো? তাহলে এখানে আমার নেক্সট কি করতে হবে? দেখো এখানে কিন্তু কি বলছে, বিটলাই এর একটা প্রাইসিং অপশন আসছে। বিটলাই কি এখন ফ্রি আর নয়? বিটলাই তো ফ্রি ছিল বাবা। আচ্ছা, বিটলাই ইজ ফ্রি, বাট উই নিড টু সাইন আপ ফর ফ্রি। ঠিক আছে, so I personally do not have any account at Bitly, but this is just to show you that if you do have any account, or you can create an account here in Bitly, so highly you can use this for the purpose of URL shortener, right? So this is another option like for URL shortening. তাহলে এগুলো দিয়ে কি হয় গো, once we will be using this kind of elements, so what we need to do, we need to copy and paste our URL at this particular place. So what they are going to do, they are going to give their URL name instead of that particular IP address. They are going to hide that particular IP address and that name with a shortening name, and that name we can pass to anybody. The name is going to be very much acceptable and trusted to all, right? That is the human psychology. We never trust an IP address, but we always trust a name, even if that IP address carrying a malicious link of that particular name is actually linked up with a malicious stuff, I mean a malicious computer. I mean, we do believe that name is always safe and secure, but the IP addresses are never secure. But we do not know the concept of DNS. Every name is associated with individual IP addresses, and every IP addresses are associated with individual names, vice versa. So that is the case. So anyhow, we can shorten, we can craft our this IP address, and we can make it convincing, we can pass it to our target. So if target gets trapped and executed that stuff, we are straight away into that particular computer, right? So this is the case that we have already done for many times in with Metasploit, but the similar kind of stuff is happening out here. See, the execution gets executed, and you're inside that particular file. So what is the difference between Metasploit and Whale? Nothing as such difference. The only difference is Whale is demanding that their program is efficient to actually bypass the antivirus program. But as of now, we have not done anything inside the file. We have believed on Whale. We have checked it through nodistribute.com, and if we are assured that yes, most of the antivirus programs it is able to bypass, then yes, of course, we are going to believe and we are going to upload it, and the similar kind of process with the listener will be taking the help of, like MSF console, similar kind of stuff, and will be inside that particular stuff, right? And guys, do remember one thing once again, one just small gentle reminder to all of you that guys, please remember the WAN connection of Metasploit that you have learned with ngrok, right? So that is going to work a lot, right? So these kind of stuffs are actually meant for local, but if you would like to do something in the WAN, ngrok is a software with which you need to work with. So today's class will be winding up out here only. So next class session link I'll be sharing it shortly. Probably the next week we'll be having our next classes, and we'll in the next class only we'll be completing this entire big unit of social engineering. And from next to next class we'll be starting up our next sessions of like ARP spoofing attack, then DNS spoofing attack, then file interpreter, then virus, then worms, this kind of stuff. Plenty of stuffs which are left, like web attacks, and then Wi-Fi attack, and then Android stuff. All these stuffs are there. Anyway, so this is our whole motto, whole plan, and let us complete. In next class definitely we'll be winding up the social engineering stuff. Let's come in the chat box. Do you have anything to ask me for today? Okay, probably you do not have anything to ask me. Okay, yes, thank you very much. I'll be sharing this session with you all. Okay, thank you.